Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi folks, welcome to an episode of Remedial Civics with the Lex Rex Institute. This series used to be called Ask an Attorney, although we think that Remedial Civics kind of captures what we do a little bit better, filling in for the fact that Americans have not really been taught the Constitution for the past 80 years. And of course, knowledge of the Constitution was viewed by our founding fathers as sort of a prerequisite for self-government. So here we are, Remedial Civics. This is my co-host, Alex Bostic. We're both named Alex. Don't let that confuse you. Thanks for joining us today, Alex.
Sure. Okay, so today's question, we have a clip from the new Disney show, Andor, and then we're going to have it involves police sort of involvement and escalations. We want to ask you about that clip. So let's go ahead and...
So last time you were on the show, we did a criminal procedure question, and I said those are going to take too long to answer. So we're doing a criminal procedure question again. All right. Okay. This time it's from a Star Wars show.
Yes.
Well, I was a fan of Star Wars till Disney kind of changed it, but I like Andor. So let's take a look at this clip. I don't think John Williams scored this.
No.
What do you think you're doing?
Excuse me?
You keep looking around.
Just trying to figure out what's going on.
You a part of it?
Part of what?
Okay, so pause it here. All right, so right away, one of the things, I guess, I don't know if this is wrong in a galaxy far, far away, but I'm going to analyze this through a lens of U.S. law, sort of how this should go in the United States if this kind of thing happens. One real quick mistake that Cassian's making here is he answers the questions this guy's asking him.
So when you tell people never answer talk to cops, police officer, you literally mean like immediately.
Yeah, well, this is actually a really good example of what police tend to do, because he's asking him questions that are intentionally incriminating. Are you a part of it?
Yeah.
Part of what? I mean, he hasn't clarified what that is, but as soon as you answer that question, he's probably going to ask you a few more. There's a lot of pressure put on you. You, for the most part, most people want to leave when this kind of thing's going on. You'll tend to say a lot of stuff that you otherwise might not in this kind of situation, because when people are in front of the police, they start blabbing. So that's the strategy that this, I think they call them shore trooper. Stormtroopers are the ones that wear the white. He's in sort of an off-white, so I think he's a shore trooper. Okay. I like Star Wars.
Keep going.
The show's good too, by the way, guys. Like, the reason we're watching this is because this actually, the show does a very good job of showing how tyranny works. And the ways that a formerly free society can degenerate into one where, people are afraid just to walk around at the beach. So yeah, keep playing the clip.
Don't play dumb.
No, I'm on my way to the store.
You need to back up. Stand right there.
Okay, pause it. At this point, you ask if you're being detained. If they have anything they're charging you with. They cannot detain you. So at the point at which the police stop your freedom of motion, that is, legally speaking, an arrest. Police cannot arrest suspects without what's called probable cause, which means they have to have a pretty good reason to think that a crime's been committed. So you can ask them, am I being detained? If they say yes, at that point, if they ask you any more questions, you're subject to what's called a custodial interrogation. They cannot do that unless they've read you your Miranda Rights. What your Miranda Rights are, you probably heard it in every TV show. I don't think you're likely to hear the Empire give them, because they don't have a...
I think that'd be a split from reality in the show.
Right, they don't have a Miranda v. Arizona in their world, because it's a tyranny. So, but right to remain silent, right to an attorney. As soon as they inform you of that right to an attorney, that's the one that you want to invoke. You don't want... Again, not legal advice, but generally speaking, that's the one you want to invoke, because if you invoke just the right to remain silent, they can leave you there for a long time and then ask you more questions later, saying that you changed your mind. The only way to get around more questions from the police is to invoke your right to counsel. And that you have that right throughout the entire process. So yeah, call a lawyer right away. You can probably go in pretty cheap. Anyway, keep playing the clip.
You look like you're sweating.
Well, it's hot.
Or you've been running.
Why would I be running?
Because
More
you're
questions.
A part of it.
Don't answer this stuff.
What?
I'll ask the questions.
I'm just going to the store. It's right there.
You need to calm down.
Okay, pause
sir.
it again. See, there he's testifying, saying that he's going to the store. He doesn't, maybe a crime's been committed in that store. Maybe there's a cabal of people who are meeting there to plan some kind of. You shouldn't testify when you're talking to the police. That can and will be used against you later. So.
In fact, the Miranda tells you that.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to calm down, sir. Droid assistance, please.
I don't think we have these here.
No, not actually. There's a Boston Dynamics, I think it's called, is building sort of the Hound from Fahrenheit 451.
I don't think they're using those for the police, are they?
Well, not yet, but
Okay,
police
fair
use a
enough.
lot of military equipment.
enough,
So
yeah.
I don't know. You may be. There may be a droid that.
Yeah, Congress did ask police why they were buying bayonets, so that's fair.
Yeah, Rand
I
Paul
can't-
did that a couple of years
Yeah,
ago.
like 5 years ago. Anyways.
This guy doesn't have a
Wait,
bayonet.
what is
No.
it? No, this is great.
Hang on to this one for me. I want to check the shelter.
We got to use specific instructions with droids.
He meant the watch. No, he means watch.
Yeah, so at that point, obviously, that's an unlawful use of force against this guy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So
Oh, that's shocking.
yeah, that would actually be
awful.
considered a battery.
Yeah.
There was no threat that he was going to run away at the time.
Right.
They were not trying to stop him in the the imminent commission of another crime.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a battery, and I think that would be attributable to the police officer. Although because of qualified immunity, likely you couldn't hold him personally liable for that. Lex Rex Institute would try anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We think those cases are worth bringing, and we think there's ways around qualified immunity.
Mm-hmm.
But you would be able to sue either the city or the department that police officer works for.
Yeah. I think that's about the end of the clip, isn't it? Or is there a little more?
Well, there's a trial. That should be another
Should be-
episode.
yeah,
that's
a
got a
different
full on
episode.
issue.
Okay, so to wrap up, it sounds like, let me know if I'm getting these wrong. When you tell us don't speak to the police, you mean literally the moment they start talking to you, which is based on the way you were talking in the clip. Miranda Rights, it sounds like those are essentially letting us know that we have a right to an attorney and a right to remain silent. Is there anything further from those two?
Yeah,
or?
so Miranda also lets you know that you are now going to be subject to what's called a custodial interrogation. You're
Okay.
in custody. They have probable cause of some crime. If they read you your Miranda rights, that means that they're likely going to be charging you with the crime.
Yeah.
So you should invoke those rights. You should,
Yeah. So,
you
and
should
then,
get a lawyer.
um,
And when I say don't talk to the police, again, not legal advice.
Sure.
What I really mean is don't testify to the police.
You're right.
So what's testimony? Well, any affirmative statement about your intentions, about your actions, anything like that. So if they ask you a question and you answer that question, that's testimony. You can say things like, am I free to go?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's talking. You can say that to the police. Again, not legal advice.
Right.
Best advice I can give, if you're ever detained by a police officer at any point, call an attorney. Best thing Cassian Andor could have done here
Just call an
is
attorney.
pulled out his comm link and said, I'm going to call my attorney.
I don't, based on the way that show goes a little later that we can show in a different episode, I don't think that they have that right.
Yeah,
but
well, that's
here they would.
and that's sort of the whole point of this episode is all their basic rights are being stripped
Yeah.
by the Empire. So you're right. He probably doesn't have a right to counsel anymore.
Yeah.
But
Oh, and then finally, I wanted to mention, and then once they've given you the Miranda rights, essentially evoke both of them immediately because you don't want to start talking and you want to ask your attorney.
So the right to an attorney implies a right to remain silent. They're
Oh,
they're required to stop asking you questions
I
if
see.
you invoke your right to counsel, and they can't ask you again until a lawyer's there. That's not true of the right to remain silent.
Mm-hmm.
They can leave you in that room where they've been questioning you. So this wasn't a room, but I guess they could have the K2 series droid hold the guy there for hours and hours.
Yeah.
I think there's a fixed period of time. I think it's 8 hours, and they can come back.
Yeah.
And then they can ask you more questions after that. If you invoke the right to counsel, they can't do that.
Okay.
Empire probably still can. That was probably all legal in the Star Wars world.
Right,
Not
yeah.
commenting on Star Wars law. In fact, actually, we know it was illegal because the formation of the Empire was illegal.
Well, they did it through legal means later, and also it's an emergency. This is not relevant.
Well,
but,
I'm
yeah.
saying the Empire's authority is extra legal.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
because they never. I don't think that there ever was a provision allowing those senators to vote to give Chancellor Palpatine emergency power,
Episode 3.
and then for him to form an empire. I don't think any of that was legal.
That's fair. Okay. Well, I guess
And we
that's
would
it.
fight it if we were in the Star Wars universe. We would absolutely, join the Rebel Alliance. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's so if you want to support. I hate to call us rebels. We're not. We're upholding the law. Rebels is a slur that the Empire gives them. So,
Okay.
that's all.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Yeah.